Hey, what's going on, guys? Slim Anthem here. Welcome back to another week of Talking Points. In this episode, I'm going to be focusing on my personal favorite Tony Hawk games from the series. And no, I will not be considering any of the spin-off games like Shred, Ride, Downhill Jam, or the HD remake of the original Pro Skater. So you don't have to worry about those games because honestly, I think those games were crap. So, all right. So I thought about this for a while, but personally, I think my favorite Tony Hawk game would have to be Underground 2, and there's so many different components that kind of go into creating that decision. One is mainly the soundtrack. The soundtrack is just amazing because you got all these different like punk bands, and then you got some old school music, like you got Frank Sinatra, you got Johnny Cash thrown in there. Just the soundtrack was just outstanding. Like that was the game with the best soundtrack. And so many people that I've talked to about like what their favorite Tony Hawk game was, they keep making reference to Underground 2. Like it was that powerful. Like another thing about it is just like the creativeness of the storyline. Because one thing that Underground 1 did really good on was creating the individual aspect where you create your own skater and then you kind of go through his own career and all that. This one kind of enhances it. So not only are you used to that idea that you're this random guy, but now you're teaming up with these pros, and there's one team going head to head with the other. You got Team Hawk versus Team Margera, and you guys are traveling around the world doing all this destructive stuff, hence the name Destruction Tour. And it's just really, really creative because you're going to all these different places and you're just causing havoc and all that. And then it's just a whole competition to see who does it the best, and it all gets decided in the very end. And there's a lot of laughs, humor that's kind of played in throughout the game. But some places where you start out in training, which is at the Chicago warehouse, the classic level. There's Boston, Spain, Berlin, Australia, New Orleans, and then Skatopia. And then, of course, another thing that made that game so great was not only did they do a phenomenal job with the idea of the story mode and like all the interactions you can do and like the creative challenges, but they even went back to their roots. They created the classic mode, the idea that the Tony Hawk games focused on early on in their franchise, where you would have to do certain tasks like get a high score, collect the skate letters, find the music disc or whatever. They actually went back and did that too. So you had story mode and classic mode that you could decide from. Now how awesome is that? And not only that, but they gave you so many levels to go back and play through. Some of them were old levels from previous Tony Hawk games, and some of them were from specifically the story mode in Underground 2. So that's my favorite Tony Hawk game right there. My second one would probably have to be American Wasteland. I don't know, a lot of people, this is where it kind of the opinions start to differ a little bit. A lot of people like Underground 1 as their second favorite, and a lot of people like American Wasteland. This was a hard decision, but I'd say American Wasteland because it takes place in California, and that's kind of that's like Tony Hawk's homeland and everything. It's kind of a big place for skateboarding, and pretty much what it focuses on is you're this new guy who just moves into town, and you end up meeting a bunch of people that are locals around, the Hollywood area. And pretty much the game focuses on is rebuilding this dream skate park that was once there but then got buried, and no one ever thought about it again until you confront the owner and you learn about what the skate park used to be, so you try to make that past memory a reality again. So it's pretty cool. And of course, you do a lot of crazy stuff in the game. They added new features like you could throw your board, you could hit people with your skateboard, which is pretty cool. Yeah, there's some mini games and stuff you can do in the game as well. But that game also did have a strong focus on the classic mode as well. Even though there wasn't as many levels as there were in Underground 2, you can still go to different places and complete all these different challenges and stuff. They're all new levels though, so it wasn't stuff that you see in game or in the past games, so it was pretty cool. Underground 1 would probably be my third favorite. Again, the soundtrack, very good, spot on. The story mode is great, and the thing that makes that game even better is like it doesn't matter how many times you play that, and like how long ago it was since you last played it, you can still quote dialogue from that game because it was just that memorable. Ah, man. Shouldn't you cops be fighting real crime, like finding out where that missing sprinkled donut went? Oh, it's real funny, smartass. Well, you and your buddy could kiss your roller skating contest goodbye, that is, if your buddy here would like to do us some favors. But yeah, the dialogue is very memorable in that game. Like I said, it's the first game where you actually get to create your own character and like play as him. I mean, of course you can do that in the Pro Skater games, but like this game actually focuses on that aspect. And then you kind of go through a story mode. It's not just like you go to different places and just complete levels. It's just like you kind of go in progression, like there's chapters to the game. And what makes it so, another thing that makes that game stand out, and of course it doesn't have classic mode unfortunately, but is just that, of course there's all those cutscenes, and because all the previous Tony Hawk games did not have cutscenes, and then you perform this very, very dangerous stunt in Hawaii where you have to do a McTwist over a helicopter from a very high hotel to a ramp that's like right above an entrance of a hotel nearby. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I would call that one my third. I would put that as my third favorite Tony Hawk game. I'm not going to really go much in depth in detail with the next few games. I'm just going to be kind of naming other games that have really sparked my interest. Next in line would probably be Pro Skater 4 because that's when they started like creating all the, I guess, how is it said? How is it? Kind of like job missions. You kind of walk up to people and talk to them and they give you a challenge and you do it. There's cash hidden around the map. You can unlock new characters. You can do your pro challenges for each skater. And there's like little hidden mini games where you can earn money throughout the levels. Pro Skater 3 would be next. That's when they started including the in-game stat points for each level. Again, more challenges and stuff you can do. And then next would probably be Pro Skater 2. No, hold on. Let me take that back. Next would probably be Project 8. After that, Pro Skater 2. Then Proving Ground, then Pro Skater. See, I like the original Tony Hawk version, like the original game. I like it and all. It's just that what kind of really takes away from the fun in the game is when you can't do all the stuff, like all the features that you can do in other Tony Hawk games. Like you can't manual, you can't revert. So if you go up a ramp and you do tricks and come down, that's pretty much the end of your combo. There's not much you can do. And pretty much there's only like 5 challenges you can do per level, so there's really not much you can do. Proving Ground, though, was, even though I rated that game better than the first Tony Hawk game, Proving Ground can be a bit of an asshole sometimes. Because I've just had some bad blood with it in the past. Because some of the missions and stuff in that game are just complete horseshit. Like, they like to screw you over and all that. So I've had to do a lot of rigging, like put down rigging pieces and all that just to get done with certain missions. Because I've gotten screwed over so many times playing that. And then, oh yeah, there's also another game. Pro Skater 5. Never played that game, but I would say that one's the worst. Just because to me it looks like the HD remake of the original Tony Hawk game, so. Yep. So my top 3, Underground, American Wasteland, and Underground 2. And like I said, the classic mode, the story mode, the soundtrack, that's what just made that game so unique. Like, in fact, the whole Tony Hawk series was just made unique because of the whole soundtrack ideas and everything. So, those are my favorite Tony Hawk maps, or not maps, games, but feel free to let me know in the comments section what your guys' favorite games are. Who knows, they may be similar, they may be different, but thanks for watching the video, guys. As always, please hit the like button, comment below, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all later. See ya.